do you find that parents and teenagers come to a point in the relationship where they just clash and don't get along?
We're the Happy Heathers, and we'll deep dive into this and explain why it is. You currently have teenagers.
Yes, I have 2 teenagers.
You're afflicted by teenagers.
Yes, absolutely.
Isn't it interesting that your kids, the kids, the babies, they're nice, they're cute, and they're grown up, and one night they go to bed as kids and they wake up as adolescents in the morning. And everything changes. You've been reading them fairy tales, stories to put them to sleep, and then they come down to the kitchen the next morning. You go, what do you have for breakfast?
Grunt at you.
Yeah.
I have to say mine are not too bad at the moment.
Okay.
But I do think that teenagers naturally progress into wanting to detach from their parents at some point in their life. And I think this is what causes the conflict, because they're becoming adults. They're not children anymore, and they're not adults yet. So they're somewhere in limbo, they're in between. And they have this teenage brain, which is very reactive, very different of where we're at in our lives. And I think that this is where parents clash, because they still are treating them like children and speaking to them like they're children, and they forget to have a more adult conversation, or to start helping them make choices or do things, their way, and let them make mistakes and different things like that.
But
I think we're afraid to do that as parents.
Do you think sometimes that they want you to treat them more as an adult, but they're still reacting to you as a child? They're still kind of going, well, you are supposed to be giving me things, you're supposed to be looking after me. Not that I, as the teenager, should be taking more responsibility and going out and trying to get things for myself in the world.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is where, I would do a lot of psychoeducation with parents themselves, because, there are basic needs that every child needs. So whether they're a teenager or a child growing up, they're going to need love, care, attention, food, warmth, shelter. Okay? Yeah. So what I see parents doing is taking away some of the essential things that children need. I can wash your clothes for you, and I put them away, and I do this, that, and the other for you. You're brought to your football, or you're brought to your horse riding, or whatever it is you're going to. And they say that they're going to stop doing these things. But these are essential things for your child to feel safe and secure in their environment. It's not, that's part of being a parent. It's not, something that you can use to punish your child if their behaviour isn't what you'd like it to be.
Yeah.
So
isn't it interesting? The term teenager, there was at one time there was no such thing as a teenager. The term only came about after World War II, where there was this group of people, because there's so many fathers and people went off and got killed and never come back and all this. There was suddenly this generation of these people. Previously, kids would have grown up, they would have got some education, but gone straight into work. Sometimes from being kids, 8, 9, 10, they would have been in work. But then I think things started to change after the war, especially in the 60s and that. People got television, and suddenly you could see how other people were in different parts of the world. You kind of go, hold on, they're into music and watching films and hanging out. They're not out working. They're wearing nice clothes. I didn't want to wear nice clothes. The
hippies.
Yeah. and this whole thing of the teenager was created. But it is, in a way, a kind of an artificial thing then too, because as you said, they haven't got brains that are fully matured, but they think they are. Like when I was a teenager, I thought knew everything. I could fix everything. My parents hadn't a clue. People in society hadn't a clue. Yeah. I know how to do everything. Now I'm still the same. Now
he still hasn't grown up, lad. He's still in teenage brain.
Hopefully I never will.
Hopefully, all going well.
But teenagers, I heard somebody said they're like Wi-Fi. You're trying to connect with them, trying to tune in, and it says not available, unable to connect. And isn't that the thing? If they think you're stupid, like I remember they go through this phase where they're totally embarrassed playing. You think you're great, and then I remember my daughter one time saying, "Dad, can you drop me here?" I was bringing her to school. I go, "I was just school like a quarter mile." No, will you drop me here? 'Cause she was embarrassed about the car we were driving, and maybe about how I looked, and then she didn't want to be associated. So going from daddy's little girl to suddenly you're an embarrassment.
You're not cool. Yeah, don't hug me.
You're not with
people.
It.
God, how dare you? Don't even look in my direction or talk to me. I know, it's weird actually, that transition.
Yeah, and then they go to, because they're trying to establish themselves, they go through this phase where they're trying to have boundaries or privacy. Like it's their room. You don't go into their room to pick up the laundry off the floor anymore. Yeah. And in fact, their room is like a black hole. Everything kind of goes into it.
Nothing comes out.
Pizza boxes, everything. Nothing ever comes out of it. And you're kind of afraid. You kind of go, I went down and sort out that room. Then you kind of go, I'm afraid to actually go in and open the door.
Yes.
Curtains haven't been opened on those windows for months.
Oh my God,
What's in
the
there?
air of the place.
Yeah.
And I do think, I hear people saying, I have 2 teenage girls at home, but they say the boys are worse, for the dirty socks shoved under the bed and things like that.
We never grow out of that, you see.
Yeah. Oh God. That's nasty, Paul.
I clean my room whenever it needs to be cleaned. But I'm a messy person by default. And
I am as well,
I make peace
actually.
with that. Because I remember one time living in an apartment where I'm sitting there on a Sunday night and I'm thinking, oh God, there's lots of stuff all over the floor. There's food curtains, there's laundry, there's pages, there's books, there's that sort of thing. Do you know what? I'm going to clean all of this stuff. And I did. I cleaned the whole thing up. The room was pristine. The next night I'm sitting there and I go, stuff all over the floor. And it's as if somebody broke in here and put things up. Oh man, I'm the only one that's been in here. God. And I had subconsciously reset it to its messy self.
Wow.
Because that's the way I am.
Your paradigm is stuck there, Paul.
Yeah.
There's little psychological techniques you can use to get out of that.
Yeah. I don't know.
But it's different, isn't it, among people? I mean, teenagers, for that example, actually, teenagers, that's not a priority to them to have a clean or a tidy room. What's a priority to them is their friends, for example. So their priorities are very different to ours. We're trying to keep a house, go to work, get them out the door in the morning to school
order,
on time.
Structure, routine.
All about order, structure, routine, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But for teenagers, that's not on their agenda. They want to go play their sports or their music or whatever it is. The risk taking is very high. It's a big factor in teenagers as well.
I heard a comedian talking about his teenage son.
Brilliant.
And he was saying that he was walking past his room, he could hear all the shouting inside and this thing. And he was on a computer, he was playing a game. And he said to his wife, he said, who's in there with him? She said, oh, nobody, he's online playing. And he said, would you listen to him? And she said, oh, maybe I should go. And he said, no, don't. He said, he's with his friends, we don't have to have them in our house. This is brilliant, this is a win-win situation for us.
That's actually great because you have less of the cleaning up to do afterwards and all the rest are just where they are. Yeah, actually on the topic of comedians as well, I remember going to a comedian and the funny thing was she was saying that when your child is coming into puberty herself, and you're there and you're going out of it, you're going through the menopause and she's coming in looking radiant and fresh and this whole thing. But the hormone clash as well is a big factor in families too.
Yeah.
It's like, Jesus, you have no patience, at all for each other. And it can be a nightmare. Yeah. I've often heard poor husbands or partners caught in the middle of this, between the two, the daughter and the mother, and it's just... Yeah. It's devastating for the man, I think, as well. So
it is.
I empathise with him.
And I bring a lot of stuff back to nature because I think we are animals, just kind of one step or even half a step, sometimes not a step removed at all. But in nature, like stags, you have the dominant male bull stag.
Paul thinks he's a dominant male. He's not really.
And anyway. You get an up and coming, you get a teenage stag, with the hormones crossing, kind of go, no, I'm going to fight him, and he will fight him, and sometimes he'll vanquish him, and the old stag has to go off, then it'll die.
No.
Or if the younger stag loses, he goes off, and he'll challenge some other stag in some other community or society, and then he'll get in there as the alpha male, and the cycle repeats itself. And so it is with teenagers. They'll challenge their parents because they're looking for autonomy, they're looking for their own space, their own independence, and they'll get it one way or another, whether it's within the household or they're going to go, I'm moving out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Actually, I read a piece of research years ago that said that's a natural progression. Like, for young people to actually want to move out of home, there has to be conflict. There has to be. It's a normal part of that process where they're ready to move out, actually.
Yeah. I think every parent of a teenager knows now or understands why in nature some animals eat their young.
Ew, gross.
And on that
I have no interest in eating my children.
on that note, we'll leave it there. We are the Happy Heathers. Like us, subscribe to us, and we'll talk to you soon.